Hey y'all, great people going on there in the YouTube universe. So my fine weeks continues, right? So I go to pick up my load. Drove 143 miles to get there. I go to the place. It was at a Dr. Pepper place. I go there. Security look at everything. No problem. I back into the dock. I was in the dock for about 2 hours before they start loading me, right? So they loaded the trailer about halfway, and then the guy comes out and says, well, they got to reject the trailer because there's flies in there. I'm like, there's flies in there? He said, yeah, it's flies in there now. I said, so hold on a minute, let me get this right. Y'all had me back up to this door for 2 hours before y'all start loading me with my doors open. You load the trailer halfway, and then you say it's flies in here, when by that time it has been over 3 hours with my doors open. I said, did the flies come for y'all warehouse? But no, it ain't come for the warehouse. Well, was there flies in there when you first started loading it? Well, no, I ain't see no flies when I first started loading it. So that means the flies must have flew in there from the time period that you was loading the freight, and when you didn't stop because you got flies flying around your head. Well, either way, because it got flies in there now, we can't use it. I said, y'all have an open dock, and you got truckers sitting here with their doors open that flies can fly in. Y'all don't have nothing to prevent the flies from flying in because the cushions was broken on both sides. The cushion was broken. They only had the cushion on top, right? But the ones on the side that hugs the trailer, those was broken. They was off. So I said, I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. Because when I call the broker and complain, I just want to make sure you're rejecting the trailer because flies got into it by the time you was halfway finished loading it, and y'all can't get the flies out. So y'all don't want to send the freight with flies in it, right? He said, well, yeah. Well, whose fault is it that the flies got in there? It's not my fault. It wasn't in the trailer before. I said, all right, no problem. I'm thinking the real reason why they tried to say that because they didn't have enough freight for the customer. And just so they don't get a bad mark with the customer, they're trying to say that we had to reject the trailer that this load was going on because flies had got into it. But then I just was like, you know what? Yeah, I was pissed. Because I'm like, okay, my trailer doors was open up for almost 3.5 hours. And there wasn't no flies in there when you started. And it was a clean trailer when y'all inspected it. So obviously it's y'all fault why the flies got up in there. So y'all got to, y'all got to pay that tow note, number one. Number two, I was pissed off because by the time all this stuff happened, and then even when I pulled out the dock, right, they took the freight out and I pulled out the dock, there was no flies in this trailer. Not one. I called the supervisor and told the supervisor, you need to look inside this trailer because there's no flies in this trailer. He looks, he got the little blue light and he looking all over the place. And then he said, well, my loader said that he had flies around him by the time he got to the half a trailer. I said, but okay, but you don't see no flies in this trailer, right? He said, yeah. I said, I just pulled out the door, right? So that means y'all product that y'all got packed up, wrapped up in the film and everything like that, sitting on those crates, maybe one of those crates is infested with flies that you have to check out, because I don't have no flies in this trailer. And then after he saw all that particular stuff, then that's when he said, well, we're gonna have to give you a tow note on it. I'm like, okay, no problem. I was still pissed because by that time, all that stuff happened. It was already like 5 o'clock. It was like 4:57, technically, but basically 5 o'clock p.m. So by that time, most of all the brokers are gone. Unless you do the click ones, where you just click and go. But even on the click and go ones, there was no good ones. It was going to be ones that I was going to miss my load up and everything. You know, so I mean, then that load was a 1-day load, and it was paying me $1,500, $1,535. You know, it went 729 miles for $1,535. So that's why I was like, well, okay, yeah. But they had me pissed, man. I was pissed. Even the supervisor, even the security guard, he came, he looked at it. He said, yeah, they told me it was getting rejected for flies, but I didn't see any flies when it went in. I said, you don't see no flies when it's coming out. And the dock supervisor came out and looked at the trailer, and he ain't seen no bug activity, no flies or nothing. And I told him maybe that pallet that he put up in there had the infested flies because it's all syrup. So maybe something had spilled out or something like that and caused flies to get inside that one particular one. So when he dropped it in the trailer and all that shaking and stuff, that's when the flies had came out. I said maybe it was that because he took that freight out and there's no flies in my trailer. So I had the security verified twice, and I had the supervisor verified. I'm like, this is just crazy. I said, this is crazy. So by that time, it wasn't no more loads. So on Wednesday, I didn't have no loads. I couldn't get a load by that time. Couldn't get nothing. So I had a whole day with no loads. So now I done lost another day. And then that's another $1,500 gone. You know, I'm not going to say that this market is bad because I've been doing okay. But at the same time, when you have these shippers now starting to do stuff like this, and it's not that many loads out there, and by the time that they do it or you go to the places, it's already too late because it's not like you load it early in the morning. You know, when you load in late afternoon or around midday, around 2 o'clock, it's not that many loads. And then there are some loads, but then it's going to take me out of the area. So it'll take me out of the area. So on Friday, there's just no good paying loads. These people want you to go 1,600 miles over the weekend, and then they only want to pay you like $2,000, $2,100, but they want you to go 1,700 miles. I mean, and to me, that's crazy. So I always try to go around that 900 to 1,100 over the weekends. So even when I do that, and I would be getting those loads for $2,400, you know, it'd be a lot better. You know, I end my week pretty good.
Right on
and most of the time I end my week
the first left.
with the total miles being, you know, over $2 a mile. So, you know, that's how I be. But this is just, I'm just like, man, here we go. 2 weeks in a row now, man. 2 weeks in a row. Is there freight out here? Yes. There is freight out here, okay? So if you're wondering if it's freight out here, still, yes. But you have to get up early. I start about 7 o'clock. And I look for the loads, and I always stay a day ahead of time, right? But something yesterday, right, kept telling me I started looking for a load out of West Virginia because this is where this was going, to West Virginia, and something was telling me, no, don't book a load yet, don't book a load yet. So I was just looking because I was trying to get back up to the Ohio, Indiana, Illinois area, because it's just not enough miles from West Virginia going back to my house in Florida. So you're not going to get a good rate You probably get 18, 19, $2,000 for it, but it's nothing like 800 miles, So, and I was trying to get about 3,000, anywhere between 25 to 3,000, depending on how far down you're going in Florida and stuff. You go to Miami, they normally pay about $3,000, $3,200. You go around the Palm Beach area there, then they normally pay about 28, 29. You probably can get 3, but I was seeing like basically about $2,900. If you're doing that from the areas that I like to go, because it's only like 1,100 miles, so that's still pretty good, for when I'm going home. I go home every other week, right? So last week I lost a total of $2,400 last week because of these hellos and the layover and stuff like that. And then the brokers that I use, they be like this, yeah, but the layover, I had got $450 for the layover, and I had got $150 for a tow note. So, but that help that goes down to where I lost $2,400 once I got those. Once I got the layover paid and the tow note. It's just one of those type of things that you go through. Everybody go through it. One of my buddies, he was going through it 3 weeks ago like that. And he'll get these loads, he get there, they didn't cancel the loads, they don't have the freight, or they can't load them that day, but they can load them early in the morning. So he was missing out on some loads too. And, he had to deal with that as well. I was like, man, it sucks for him because he was going through it. And then now, here I am, I'm going through it. So it's like one of those type of things where now I'm down $1,535 for the week. I'm down $1,535 for the week. Then I was seeing if, hey, how can I make it up? But I'm not going to be able to make it up. And that's the only thing. I won't be able to make it up. I can see what I can do. This load that I'm picking up now, it delivers Saturday morning at 7 o'clock Saturday morning. And I can see if I can make it up on Saturday and do like a day run or something like that while in Florida, this load taking me to Florida, right? And it's I got 1328. It's almost 1,400 miles to go, right? But this load paid $3,100. Like I said, I stay in Florida, so you can't look at why I'm going to Florida and there's no loads coming out of Florida. You can't do that because I stay in Florida and I know how to get loads and stuff in Florida. As a matter of fact, I can drop this load off while I'm there around Jacksonville. I can pick up a load from Jacksonville or Elkton and take that down to Miami and still make another $1,000 for the day. Especially it's a weekend load too. You get paid a little bit more money if you run on the weekends there in Florida. So you can get it. All day you can get a $750, $800 from Elkton down to like Miami. So you can do that. That's like 280 something miles. You can get that for $750 easy. If you negotiate, you can get $900. And that's during the weekday. On the weekend, you can get $1,000, $1,100. I have plenty of times. So yeah, just one of those another weeks out there in this market. Now some areas is real bad. Out there in the Midwest now, it's bad. I was going to take a load earlier in the week to Arizona, to Phoenix, Arizona. It was paying good, but I just don't book a load just because it's paying good. I'll look at the time of the delivery and the date, and then I go back on the load boards and I look for loads coming out that day that I can pick up. So if I go to this area, I need to see how's that area with loads coming out of that area, because they may pay real good going to that area, but coming out it could be really bad. So when I was looking at the Phoenix markets coming out, it was coming out for $1.10, $1.15, $1.20 something, so that wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough for me to go to Phoenix and then come back out making $1.10, because then when it's coming back out, where are those loads going? What time do they deliver? Now I can take a smaller load, 1 day load that delivers early in the morning, but the problem is those loads wasn't delivering to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, late in the afternoon. Now that's not going to work, because all the good paying loads is in the morning time. So it's a lot of things that when you're booking loads, you have to think about. You got to be in a market that is paying, but you want to go from one good market to another good market. That's why I do a lot of 1 day loads until the weekend. Then I do the 2 or 3 day loads. All depends on what's going on. It all depends on what's going on and stuff. So this market is funny, especially with these shippers, even the receivers. This load right here, I call it the receiver, right? And when I called the receiver, because you have to be able to do it, I was saying that, seeing how late they was going to be open on Friday, and maybe I could get it down there by Friday before they close. But then he was like, he's just going to be honest with me. On Fridays they be trying to get up out of there. It's payday for his employees, so they just be trying to get up out of there. So even though he can take it to 5 o'clock, he said they probably gonna stop taking stuff about 4 o'clock, because it's things like this. But he'll be there himself along with another guy Saturday morning, between 7 and 8 o'clock if I want to do that. And I said, well, yeah, I do that. That's no problem. Because sometimes you got to call them. Sometimes I see a load and yeah, it picks up by like 1 o'clock, but I'm gonna get there at about 2 o'clock. So I call the shipper and I ask, hey, I'm trying to see if I'm gonna be able to do this load. I'm trying to see if y'all can back that time up from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And a lot of times they be like, yeah, you can do it. Now I get the broker permission to call them. So I just don't call them. I get the broker's permission, because permission. Because then I asked the broker, hey, could they move that time for 2 o'clock? And then the broker was like, he's not sure, but you can call and ask. I was like, okay, well, cool. I'll call and ask. So that's how I do that. When I call and ask sometime. And a lot of times they be like, yeah, you can do that. We open up to 5, as long as you can get here before 4 o'clock. I'm like, okay, cool. And I go ahead and do that. So it's a lot of things that goes into it, man, into booking the loads in this market. You got to be creative. You got to go to places where you don't want to go. It's a lot of places that I've been going that I don't want to go. And there's a lot of reasons why I don't want to go. Like sometimes when the load is heavy, I'm forced to carry a heavy load, because I normally don't do loads over 38. Like this load I'm getting right now is 42,000. So sometimes I make an exception with that. And then depending on where that load is going, if I got to go through a whole bunch of mountains and climbs and coming down steep grades and all this other particular stuff, I don't like doing that with heavy weight, because now you're using your brakes a lot to keep everything up under. And even if you're using your engine brake to help you slow down, your RPM is going to be revving up, because you're going to be almost to 22, 23 for long periods of times and stuff. So you don't want that as well, to do that as well. So sometimes I look at everything. I look at stuff with my brakes and stuff. I don't want my brakes to start smoking. I don't. Then I don't want to be going up these here mountains, going 30 miles an hour, 33, 35 miles an hour, up a mountain and everything like that. So sometimes it all depends on what I feel like dealing with is what I would do. So it all depends. It all depends. What am I dealing with? Do I want to deal with it? Is this load paying me enough for me to deal with it? So that'd be the other thing that I ask myself. So when you get inside this market and you're thinking about booking your own loads, you got a lot of stuff to think about. I mean, this just for 2 weeks, and this has been what, 2 shippers and 1 receiver now in 2 weeks, and that's a lot of money in 2 weeks. I mean, and this my pocket money. All right, this is after the deductions, and I didn't pay for my fuel. So this less money that I have inside my pocket. Okay, when because I lost that $2,400 last week. Well, I only got $180 last week. That was it, $180 because I lost 24, and that's my pocket money. All the bill money, I already made all that, but all that extra money after the bill money, all my deductions and everything, that 24 was supposed to be inside my pocket. I was supposed to have made about $2,500 to $2,600 last week, but because of all that, I had to deal with it. And now this week, you look in and I then lost $1,536. That's pocket money. Okay, all that is money that's in my pocket. So when I lost that $1,500, now I'm only looking at making about $1,000, $1,100 off this load. So now my week that I'm gonna get paid for this, only gonna be like $1,000, $1,100. That's a lot of money lost out your pocket. Yeah, I'm making enough money to pay all my deduction and all the business bills, but when I lose all that extra stuff, all that money and the loads and things like that, then that comes out of my pocket. That's my profit that I'm losing, because I make sure I pay that $1,536 first. That's my trailer payment, truck payment, all my insurances, and my maintenance, unlimited maintenance that goes inside of that. So everything after $1,536, is just fuel. So if I keep my fuel down to around $2,000 at the max for the week, then I know every dollar that I make over $3,600, just say, is money in my pocket. Now you got to deduct tolls and stuff like that, toll costs, but they ain't nothing but maybe $100, sometimes $150, depending on where you're going, things like that. So even if you chop it all up and say $3,800 with tolls, so every dollar over $3,800 is $1 in my pocket. So when I'm averaging about $6,500 a week, so that's how you come up with that. Some weeks it's $6,200. This week it's going to be $5,500. I'm only going to make this week. It's 55. Hold on. 54. It's like 54.20. I'm only going to make $5,420 something this week. So think about it. If I say it's about 38, that's money gone out of my pocket. Now I pay myself $1,500 a week. It used to be $1,150. I had to go up to $15 because I got more expenses. I got some stuff in my house that needs to be done. I got pressure wash my house, my fence, my driveway. I got that. It's time to do some remodeling, so I'm working on that. It's time for new carpet, but that's all going to be inside my remodeling. Is to do the floors. I'm putting in granite countertops, so on everything, and I got 3 bathrooms, so I got to put in